Big time fight coming up this weekend in the co-main event of UFC Fight Night, Vieira and Tate, which I'm sure everybody's excited about. This might be the people's main event. We have Maverick Michael Chiesa taking on a yet-to-be-nicknamed Sean Brady, and this is a guy that's snatching up necks and paychecks. Write that on the marquee. This is a guy with maybe the scariest back tattoo next to, Alexander Volkov.
I was going to say, Volkov
UFC?
has the gold medal for it.
I don't know. I think Sean Brady's is better. But this fight here between Sean Brady pits a couple of styles together where fans of MMA grappling, who are the fans that don't go to the Apex, are excited about this one. Because for Chiesa, when it's going his way, he strikes to clinch. He clinches to take down. And once it's on the mat, this is a guy that a lot of people sit there and go, he was a lightweight and he had success? How is that even possible? Because he's giant for welterweight. And for Chiesa, so many different ways to take people down. For Sean Brady, he wants to take you down. He's going to take you down. Like, he is one of the strongest guys, it seems, that we've seen in this division in some time. That's what makes this so interesting. And again, the neat thing about it too, Chiesa, a lot more rangier, a lot more in terms of his reach. And the other thing is, he poses a different ability. He's a southpaw too. So that's what makes this a little bit different, especially when it's on the feet where every fight starts. If it goes to the mat though, geez, I mean, we're in for a treat.
This should be a really fun fight. I'm definitely the most excited for this fight than any other one on the card because Chiesa's in a weird spot. He was a good lightweight. He fought a lot of great lightweights. Makes the transition up to welterweight, which was sort of inevitable. He just couldn't make the 155 weight pound limit anymore. But his welterweight run was very weird because, okay, he beats Diego Sanchez. It is what it is. Sanchez is quite old. He beats Carlos Condit, who, if you're going to beat him, you're going to take him down and submit him. So you can't put a lot of stock into that either. And he looks really, really good against Neil Magny. But that was also a strange fight because Chiesa's in this weird category where he can play the submission hunt heavy game, but he can also kind of play a bit of that lay and pray game, which would be really interesting to see how or who gets the takedown first in this matchup, because whoever's on top is going to win every single one of these exchanges. And it's interesting. We talk a lot, striker versus grappler, grappler versus grappler. These guys are both primary grapplers, but they get it done in very different ways. For Chiesa, it is a lot more of those traditional jiu-jitsu takedowns where he's going for the clinch. He's trying to wrap your legs. It's sort of like an anaconda. It's very progressive from one stage to the next. Now, can Chiesa go out there, shoot double legs, shoot single legs? Yes, of course he does. But he's somebody who'll try to jump to the back on the feet. He'll go for a lot of those crazy submissions and just try to skip step 1, 2, and 3 in pursuit of the submission right away. Now, against somebody like Sean Brady, I don't think you can go for those big Hail Mary techniques because if Chiesa's on top against him, then yeah, I think he can have success against Brady. He'll be able to fish for submissions. He's got great just top control. It's really hard to buck Chiesa off. But the flip side is, I've seen Chiesa off of his back not eat a lot of damage by any means, but at least get held down and get out-muscled in some areas. And like you had mentioned, and it was the perfect setup, that is Sean Brady's game. If he is able to have success early on with the wrestling against Michael Chiesa, then I expect the fight to just keep on going his way. Round 2, 3, and... or not round 2, 3, and 4. Round 2 and 3. See, I think this fight deserves to be 5 rounds, not the actual main event. But if Brady is struggling to get the takedown, we saw against Jake Matthews. I don't trust Sean Brady's striking very much against top 15 talent. And I know Chiesa's not one of the best strikers in the division, but I'll be honest, and this is where I'll hand it off to you. I still think Michael Chiesa's the better striker.
Okay, think about it this way. Sean Brady is like, what do they call it? Superstar X Factor over on Madden at wrestling. He's got great wrestling. He trains at Renzo Gracie Philly with Pat Sabatini, Jeremiah Wells. There's all sorts of good guys to train over there. And Brady, bread and butter. If you just look at the numbers from UFC 259, Blachowicz versus Adesanya, Sean Brady's fight against Jake Matthews, where he submits him in the 3rd round. I love it when guys get late time, like garbage time submissions, because it's like, hey, well, we went this far, you still have more to go. And that's the nice thing about Brady. Got a wonderful gas tank. Win over Court McGee, took him down. He's a great wrestler. Beat the Austrian wonder boy, Ismail Nardiev, who I wish was still in the UFC. Beat Christian Aguilera, who's an all-or-nothing type of fighter. And then gets that win over Jake Matthews. By the way, performance of the night bonus when he took on Aguilera. Here's the trouble against Jake Matthews if you're just a numbers person. If you just look at total strikes, 133 to 32 for Sean Brady, you're going to go, oh, he mopped the floor with him. And he submitted him, Craig. How could he have any adversity? How could he have struggled in certain positions? Because on the feet, he did. If you go back and watch that fight, he did. So for me, I look at it, are you always that fighter? No, not necessarily. People can change. people can change, Matt. You can run with the Dangerous Knights crew and you can eat sloppy steaks. But in this fight, there's no sloppy steaks when you're fighting a guy like a Michael Chiesa, because you make a mistake in the stand-up, he's there. You make a mistake on the ground, he's there. You miss one of your transitions, boom, you're locked up in a submission. But for Chiesa, again, you're right. The run at welterweight, it's been weird. Condit was before wrestling Condit. Diego Sanchez was during Josh Fabia. Dos Anjos, not a welterweight. And then Neil Magny, if you're going to beat him, that's how you're going to beat him. You're just going to take him down, rinse and repeat, which is way easier said than done with what I just did. That was a very impressive win.
Against Luque, he looked pretty good in the early stages of that fight. He takes Luque down, he gets on top of him. The issue is that Chiesa has admitted this in the past. This isn't me projecting anything. He's openly said, like, I kind of find a way to lose some of these fights where I'm having a lead, I'm looking really good, and then just sort of, I don't know if it's just a mental gap, if it's just like I lose concentration for 1 second and that's his opponent's able to capitalize. It's interesting because we've seen Chiesa struggle a lot more in the grappling department than we've seen Sean Brady struggle in the grappling. And both these guys are primary grapplers, which would make you think that Brady has the advantage. But this is the flip side, and I always have to bring this up. Michael Chiesa dropped Jorge Masvidal on the feet, and that means a lot to me for some reason. Now, I know it was a stiff shot, and Chiesa doesn't have fluid stand-up by any means, but he has shown the ability to at least hurt decent fighters on the feet when he can string together decent shots. And I do feel like this is one of those buy low, sell high type moments for Michael Chiesa, where a lot of people's judgment have been clouded by his submission loss to Vicente Luque. Vicente Luque is one of the best fighters in the world. Offensive submissions, striking, like, hey, Sean Brady would have a pretty tough night out there with him, too.
Can't weigh in as an alternate for a title fight worth a lick.
Which is unfortunate, but Vicente Luque's proven that, like, hey, he is a championship caliber fighter, and he deserves to be fighting at least guys in the title picture. Now, I think Case is going to have a really big rebound performance in this matchup, but again, this all comes down to both guys' wrestling offense. If Chiesa is the one who gets on top of Brady, I think he's going to have a field day with him. Probably not get a lot of damage off in the top position, but at least accumulate enough time to win the round 10-9, one of those like 10-8.5 rounds where he gets a lot of control time, but probably not a lot of damage. The flip side, though, is if Brady gets on top of Chiesa, I think Brady can damage Chiesa when he's in that top position. He's the much more active fighter, especially when he's in that full guard, half guard, full mount type of situation. And that's why I have such a hard time picking this fight, because both these guys do have so many similarities, but Chiesa, I would say, is the slightly more effective striker on the feet, whereas Brady's the more damaging grappler on the mat, but I think Chiesa is probably the better submission specialist out of these two.
If you look at it for the odds, Chiesa open to plus 120. He's a plus 132 right now. For Brady, the undefeated fighter, open to minus 140. Minus 161 right now. If we have a look over on Tapology for the total votes on this fight, yeah, I mean, 891 total votes, 63% Brady, 43% by decision, 37% by submission for the 37% that have Chiesa, 65% by decision, 25% by submission. Matt, to me, this is one of those fights like that old Canadian Guess Who song. Don't give me no hand-me-down shoes. Don't give me no hand-me-down love. Michael Chiesa, where's the hand-me-down love? I haven't seen any of it at all. Where is it?
I don't know. It's very strange because Chiesa has had these big opportunities in the UFC, and it always feels like he comes just short of expectations. Go back to the Kevin Lee main event. Go to the Anthony Pettis fight. That was a big opportunity for him, too. Now, he missed weight in that fight. He had taken a long time off after the Kevin Lee performance, but still, that was another big opportunity against another big-name opponent. If there is, like, maybe just like a mental gap where it's like, okay, I have a hard time against these top-level fighters, I don't think that's going to be there against Sean Brady. I don't think Brady has that same kind of aura around him. I don't think when the going gets tough against Sean Brady, Case is going to look for a way out. Now, if you quit in the past, it means that you have the ability to do it in the future. That's why Charles Oliveira still has a lot of question marks around his durability. Although, against Michael Chandler, he showed the ability to get hurt and get back up. But still, once a fighter has shown that, it's always something in the back of people's minds. This is a really hard pick. I'm not going to lie. Like, this is down the middle as I've had any in a long time. And honestly, if I switch any pick on question mark kicks, it'll probably be this one. I think I'm going to pick Sean Brady, though. And for these reasons. Although Case is the better striker, he doesn't have enough volume on the feet to really put it on Sean Brady and get enough damage early on to make a big difference later on in the fight. Now, if this was a 5-round fight, I would like Case a little bit more. He's been in more 5-round opportunities, he's been in more 5-round fights, and he's shown the ability to still be able to shoot those takedowns later on in fights so that, hey, if things aren't going well for me on the feet, I can take down my more fatigued opponent in that round 4 or round 5 and bank them similar to like a Jan Blachowicz. I don't think he's going to have that ability to do that against Brady. And like I said, I think when Brady gets Chiesa down, he's going to make him pay for it a lot more than Chiesa will be able to do to Brady. I've tried to lay out enough reasons for both guys. I hope I have. But I think my final pick will be Sean Brady.
Fight goes the distance. Only 2 sites that offer it. The average is a plus 120. I mean, for me, I like Chiesa in this one. Again, we talk about who's the better striker. I think Chiesa is the better striker. In terms of the takedown defense, Brady's never been taken down in the UFC. Chiesa, 68% mark, split between 2 different weight classes. And for Brady, a little bit shorter, not as much range, but he's definitely the thicker guy. This is going to be a really tough one. I'd like to get everybody's thoughts down below. We're split on the pick. I'm going with Maverick, the underdog, Michael Chiesa. Matt going with the man with no nickname out of Philadelphia, Sean Brady, to get the win. It should be an awesome one. Yeah. And listen, it's almost going to be UFC commentator versus commentator, Chiesa versus Felder's boy. So it's going to be a really tough one. I absolutely love the fight. And we have a main event after this one. Ketlen Vieira's taking on Miesha Tate. You're not going to want to miss it. Maybe you will, but tune in for some fun. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks, we always say. Let's get into it.